Mike, you got to go up to the press conference with Bill O'Brien being named the new head coach for the Penn State football program. Your first impressions of Bill O'Brien in person?
I thought he did fine. He's articulate. He's a bright guy. Obviously, I don't expect much from press conferences, so I don't draw conclusions from them. He's got a resume, and I think he probably. As we talked, I think we talked about here, and I definitely talked about in print, I think they tried to hit a grand slam home run, and then after they saw that wasn't going to happen, then I think they went for the best relatively young offensive coordinator in the NFL that they could get, and I think Ron Jaworski was involved in this. I think they went to some outside NFL people and said, hey, give us somebody, and I'm not saying that Ron Jaworski had a decisive role in it, but I think there were some people from outside that they consulted. I think Jaworski was one of them.
And you got that briefly because one of the guys on the search committee is friends with Jaworski.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Jaworski later issued a statement through ESPN where he acknowledged it. Yeah, they called me and I told them.
Jaworski's a pretty good, very good X's and O's guy.
Sure.
I think I like his commentary. He obviously covers a lot of NFL games, breaks down tape, does a whole show on that. So that's a positive.
That's fine. Yeah, I think that is a positive.
And I think it's a positive if you're a high school recruit and you play offense. This guy knows how to do offense. Has worked with one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, Tom Brady, probably a future Hall of Famer. So those are positive things. Now everybody's saying that the alumnus fans are saying, okay, we'll give him a chance. Those that will give him a chance. Let's see his staff and let's see what he puts together. And I'm quasi-intrigued by that. He's named some names. I like some of the moves. Two of the moves I like, I'll let you talk about some of the new guys, but two of the moves I like are guys that were with the former staff on defense. You had this in your column on Sunday's front page section. It was on the jump. You would ideally, in a perfect world, like the defensive coaches to come back and the offensive coaches to go. Two of those guys are coming back, and I think Larry Johnson's a key because he's great with recruiting. And the other one is the linebackers coach, who's also pretty good with coaching.
Ron Van der Linden, who has been a head college coach, is very respected. I like him a lot. He seems like a really nice, classy guy, and I think he's good at what he does. But it's coached linebackers, which is it's linebacker U, right. as you know. And I think that I've thought about this since, and keeping Bradley on as an assistant, I think would have been a mistake. Thinking about it, because I think it would have been very difficult for O'Brien to be the boss while Bradley was there with the relationship that he has with the players. I think that would have been a problem, and I can understand why they didn't want to keep Bradley as much as I like him and as much as I think he is an excellent defensive coordinator.
Would have been smarter to take one of these coaches, Johnson or Vanderlyn, and move them up to defensive coordinator, because the defense at Penn State has not suffered, linebacker U, but they've been so good all the years. The offense has been stagnant for about 15 years. Let's be serious here. But I'm a little bit concerned. The guy they're bringing in to run the defense, his name's Ted Roof. Am I saying this right?
Well, Roof, whatever.
He spent some years at Auburn, was at Duke as the head coach. Okay, great, but these numbers aren't very great with him. Talk a little bit more about Ted.
Well, Auburn. He coached Auburn last year, and Auburn this just completed college football season, and their defense was awful. Now
81st in the nation.
They were very young. Their defensive statistics are not very good at all. They were very young. The year before that, of course, they won the national championship, and in the context of an offense that was a big play offense that was flying up and down the field, which makes it difficult for your defense to compile really good statistics. Their defense was pretty good. He was hired away from Auburn to Central Florida by George O'Leary, who is a former employer of Bill O'Brien,
from the Georgia Tech days.
He was at Central Florida for 33 days before coming to Penn State. So that whole thing is a little weird. The story of how it happened is a little strange, but I don't sense that. I could be completely wrong about this. I don't sense that Ted Roof is a big upgrade from Tom Bradley as a defensive coordinator. We'll see.
Ted Roof, the year before when Auburn won the national title, the Tigers were 9th in the nation against the run. Now, that's a good thing. we'll see how this comes together. I'm curious how different the philosophy changes from what Penn State's done for so many years compared to the new guy coming in. I like what they're doing. There was rumors that Ralph Friedgen was going to come in, the former Maryland coach.
Well, I think that's still possible. I think if he came in, it would probably be as offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And I think that's still on the table. That wouldn't surprise me.
Article I read out of Scranton paper, O'Brien is saying that he possibly would be the offensive coordinator himself the first year, but he might still have Friedgen.
He did say that he's going to call the plays. So that sounds like an offensive coordinator, to at least to some extent.
But defensively, offensive line coach, this is the one I really liked. This guy,
McWhorter, I'm guessing.
Retired after 1 year ago from Texas. The guy was the assistant coach of the year in 2008. The guy can coach offensive line, and Penn State sorely needs that. It seems like it takes him 4 years to get a good line up there.
Yeah, I would. Without meaning to be cruel about it, I'm glad that the offensive line coaches are not going to be back, and this guy sounds like a big upgrade.
So far, what is your impressions with the staff that O'Brien is putting together?
Well, I'm going to say a B minus, but it's a reserved. I reserve a final grade because we're nowhere near done with this, and supposedly we are going to be done with it in the next 24 to 48 hours. O'Brien promised. So big things are. By the time people see this show, things will be much different.
Changing.